I'm already not being better.
We're live.
You just woke up.
Hey, hey, I've been up for the last hour, even though I rested my eyes for the last 10 minutes. No, I've been awake. I didn't go. I take a little nap until around like 3 p.m. Which is impressive because I've been awake since yesterday.
You didn't go to bed when I told you to go to bed, Nathan.
My body didn't let me.
Oh, Jesus.
Hearsay, Your Honor. Anyway.
Watch it!
Aaron's The Bad Batch. I forgot to edit that in. But yes, ladies and gentlemen, we are back with the stream that has been alive for 2 days. Like every day, I'm just like, oh, let me update, and I go to check on YouTube, and every day it says, 22 hours from now, 22 hours. It's wild, but yeah, we're back. I'm very excited to be jumping into this very, very introspectively somber episode of The Bad Batch. A really beautiful animated episode, amongst other topics, I'm sure. Joining us as always, we have Evan.
Yeah, this is a fantastic episode of The Bad Batch. Parents, I loved this episode so much. I rewatched it today prior to the pod so I could take some notes, and it was just it was deep. It was a dark episode, a deep episode, and hopefully the start of a bigger journey for Crosshair, but we shall see. But yeah, love this episode. Can't wait to talk about it.
Also joining us, as always, we have Carson.
I am a sucker for circle endings, and this is so good how they do Crosshair in his new quarters. Because I realized that it was like that's the first shot of the season we've seen Crosshair. It's so cool. But anyways, yeah, I can't wait to talk about this episode. You guys have to fill me in more about. I forget like where Cody like ended up. I don't know when's the last time we saw Cody.
I think the last time was just Sith.
Yeah, so I need to get caught up in that. But I love his whole emotional arc here, and I love this whole mission and all the different parts about it. And yeah, this shit is getting deep quickly, and I'm like, damn, like. I was wondering like when this seed was going to be planted, you know what I mean, in terms of Crosshair's development. But I didn't expect it this early in the season, and I'm sort of glad that it's there. And now that we got a lot going on, so I can't wait to dive into it.
Let's space. No.
Space. War.
Where are we?
I'm pretty sure nope. Doesn't it start in the bedroom with the alarm ringing? Or am I crazy?
No. Guys, oh my gosh.
This is what happens when we have 2 days removed and I'm binging.
There's a whole explosion. I'm kidding. No. The episode starts with the shuttle, and we see Commander or slash Governor soon to be Governor of Desix, brand new planet to Star Wars. But we are in a shuttle, a la The Force Awakens, where we see just the masks of the new Imperial clone troopers alongside or clone slash regulars slash.
Yeah, I couldn't tell. I had to.
Hard to tell. But I'll talk about that later in the episode because it was something I brought up last week when I was like, "Is that clone commander in charge of just clones on this planet, or is he in charge of on Sereno?" But anyways, we see the first face, our human face of this governor called Gratton. Gratton. And he looks super nervous, super fidgety, like he is not ready for what's about to happen. But they land on Desix. We get this beautiful wide shot of Desix, and it seems like another wasteland-ish planet.
I think they confirm it's somewhere far. It's farther out in the rim. I can't remember where it is.
Outer rim. Well, that makes more sense, right? Because like they're separatists, and they positioned themselves to be out of the Republic. Which is a big like sticking point in this episode. But yeah, he's super nervous. They crash down or land down, and he fixes his uniform, and he goes to the walled city, this beautiful walled city, You see civilians just running around. They're all nervous. They're all scared. Immediately to the audience is telling you this is not very good. If you already didn't get that from the Imperial of it all. And he goes up, and of course, since he was nervous, he's like stuttering with his words. And he's like, under the supreme rule of the Empire, this planet is now under Imperial jurisdiction.
No, we're good.
Yeah.
That's okay.
It was great. And I love
Thanks
the
for
voice
the offer.
modulator. I love the voice modulator.
I love a good
too.
voice
Really
modulator.
cool.
Yeah.
Reminded me of like Leia and Return of the Jedi and other places as well.
Love a Bausch.
Good old Bausch. Yeah. By the way, is it pronounced Bausch?
I think so. Yeah.
They have a great little arc in the War for the Bounty Hunters comic.
Ooh.
And they have a role to play in the Dr. Aphra run last year. Maybe it was 2 years ago now in 2020 or 2021. Bausch had a phenomenal, like learning about their past, their relationships. It was fantastic. Anyways, yeah. So I forget the exact dialogue, but basically, like Carson said, they're not having it. They point a gun at them. They're like, "We are not under your jurisdiction." The guy's like, "Well, we might have to go by force," but then the droids like surround them.
Literally roll up. Yeah.
We learned that this whole place has like droid army, basically separatist droid army here, and they captured the governor just like that. And then they'll wait for the next envoy to see what happens. But that was a very cool jumping off point for the episode. Like we've seen a lot of like hostile takeovers in the Bad Batch. Like all of season 1 was them going from planet to planet, witnessing these kind of things, these unjust occupations. But what this episode does so well is similar to like the Hera episodes. We get another unjust occupation, but without their presence, without the heroic presence. Like in the Hera episode,
I'm sad this character had to die, but
oh my god,
she was so cool, and I'm like, damn, it would have been a good perspective for the rest of the batch to interact with her.
1,000,000%. Yeah. It's something that bugs me with Star Wars. They like to kill all these great female characters a lot in Star Wars. I'm just like, man, she's so great. And it's just like, it's very cyclical in Star Wars, where it's like, we got these great female characters, but then they die. And it's like, well, that's because Star Wars is so, this is the price of war. It's like, yeah, Star Wars is the happy show. So,
yeah.
Like,
it makes it so tragic. This shit is dark.
It makes it tragic. It makes it dark. But I'm like, come on. Like, we need some happiness in our lives. So hopefully the finale can correct some of these things. It was a little nitpick. But yeah, she was great. I wish we saw more, because just her convictions and her dialogue that she has with Cody at the very end of the episode is phenomenal. I wrote down some of those lines. But yeah, and I love the costume design too with her helmet and stuff. It was amazing. But then we cut to the star of the show here.
Is it Coruscant?
Yeah,
I think so.
Okay.
Yeah, this is the Imperial. What would they
That's
call
what I
it?
thought. It just seemed like
Compound Academy.
It seemed very flat compared to what I seen in Coruscant. Like
precisely.
Yeah, I think it tracks with what we've seen in Coruscant and Andor. Correct.
That's true.
And like in the Darth Vader comics, like the way how drab it is, how dark it is. Funny that the only piece of light, like orange light, that we get from Coruscant is the mural of the dead fallen people. Like I think that was very
so let's talk about this. Is that of the fallen like troopers or whatever?
I would say so. I mean, I would say fallen troopers or people that have gone, people who risked their life for the Republic, basically.
Yeah, I don't think it would be solely like the Jedi. They wouldn't allow that.
No, I don't think there's any Jedi on there. I think it's solely the people that the clones sacrifice themselves to like secure order, basically. And
the clones,
it's a further propaganda tool to remind them that like, oh, like
this is what you're fighting for.
This is what you're fighting for, even though it's
which is why positioning Cody next to that is so powerful. I mean, God, the direction in this episode was fantastic. And it starts here when we see Crosshair in a dimly lit room, isolated, walls all around him, dark. He's wearing dark clothes, like
he's just like me.
The show's blatantly telling us, like, this is the title of the episode. This is your solitary clone. He's not doing so hot. And it was great. I mean, just in general, it was great seeing Crosshair after not having him in the first 2 episodes.
Yeah.
And I immediately called back to Rebels. What episode was it?
Callus.
I call it the Callus Alone episode, similar to Zuko Alone in Avatar. But it was the Callus episode where it's like it starts off in first person point of view, and he's exhausted, and he goes to the mirror and he washes his face, and he's like depressed, like of his position. Yeah. But this time we don't see Crosshair exhibit any emotion of regret. I mean, Crosshair always has that blank expression, that's not somber, but just like that blank, tired expression. We can't really read what emotion he's feeling because he always has that same expression.
Well, and that's why I think it's so smart of this episode to have like the little cafeteria scene, which is sort of a callback all the way to, you know, when he used to be able to sit with his crew, and like now he literally has nobody.
Yes, exactly.
The clones are being so phased out that, you know, nobody really cares about him. There's still sort of that animosity that he's like, obviously, you know, a rogue, you know, he's a Clone Force 99 clone, like he's a bad experiment type of thing. So even when he's fighting for them, it's like nobody cares about him. And both scenes with the general were just peak. Like I love the getting the assignment, and like gosh, it was, I can't remember what the first one was. It was just like the part I liked about the first scene with when he's getting an assignment to go to, what's the planet?
From Rampart to go to Death.
Yeah, from Rampart. He automatically assumes he's going to have a team.
Yeah.
And also we learned that he was stranded on fucking Camino for
32 rotations.
32
rotations. What do you do? Is he fishing on
He's got to be fishing, right? Or
what
something. But I'm like, Jesus. And then
crazy.
He's like, no, you're not ready yet. And then specifically, he learns that he's been requested by somebody.
But that's that whole scene is so fascinating. Because we learned so much. But I want to go back to the dinner scene. Like you mentioned, Carson, he is at breakfast alone. Other clones don't like him. And I was thinking, like, it could be because he's Clone Force 99, because he's already kind of different from other clones. That could be a thing. Because even back when he was with the crew, other clones didn't like him. Like,
and also I assume the clones of Camino that were still there, like, sort of knew that Clone Force 99 was, or the Bad Batch was like causing trouble.
Oh, that's a good idea.
I don't know how much they know, but
which ultimately, and the fact that it ultimately led to the destruction of Camino itself, probably
it could be
right.
They could be placing some blame on Crosshair. I didn't even put that into consideration, but that's true.
Yeah. But what I also got is like, we see how like just how the routine of the Empire is already taken over. Like, it was such a different. Like, we get the opening of this season with like just like the funness of like the crew, like
so much fun.
Omega's got her new stuff going. Omega's studying, like, you know, it's like a thriving like family, and then boom, we got just like this sanitary routine that's just like slop on the tray, we're gonna eat, and then we get our mission. Oh, you're so valuable. You're recovered. We already got a mission for you. Like, prove your value, type of thing. And so it's like the contrast between the last 2 episodes and now this, I think was very interesting.
Can my man get a meal?
The gap.
Can my man eat one meal?
yeah. Then one he's
You know, people are mentioning it on Twitter, but you know, Rampart's like sitting there with the camera, like 5, 4, and
right as he's about to take the bite.
Yeah, it's like, oh fuck. But that's what Crosshair is. He's a good soldier that, quote, follows orders, and he just, regardless of where he's at with his food, he's going to go up to his superior officer. But yeah, it was just so different seeing him alone compared to just like the camaraderie of the batch. We mentioned it a lot last season when he was kind of like, he had his team last season, but he was still like in a position of solitude where nobody really respected him or listened to him, even if he was with the team. So yeah, Crosshair's going through it. But the clones also do mention a bit of lore here. They do not like the defense recruitment bill.
Right.
which does not go explained in the episode, but it's kind of
It's pretty self-explanatory.
self-explanatory. Exactly. Usually
You know,
context.
it gets passed, and you know, more recruitment of the Empire, phase out of the clones. What use do they have for them? Will they even like still house them? I mean, we see in Obi-Wan, there's one just like pinned up on the streets, homeless. Presumably...
Cody Rex up.
All right, but presumably that's a fate that awaits our clones.
Exactly, and they're not too happy. They do not want this boat to be passed, of course, because basically saying your time is up, which I think is the theme of the season, right? Like the time.
I think we assumed would be a theme last season.
Exactly, yeah. So I think
it means different things for different people. It's like for Crosshair, it's like he is the expert soldier, and then for the Batch, it's like, oh, like what are what we doing, or what we're ultimately doing? Is that right? Like, what is our purpose? And so seeing that,
like we talked about it last week. It's like Sid was saying, our freedom's going up, the Empire is growing, and there's nothing we can do to stop it. So what do they do with their purpose? They choose. I mean, at least they're kind of divided on it. But like Hunter wants to protect Omega, and the rest of the Batch want to probably help out the rebellion. Like they have to decide that this season. Meanwhile, Crosshair, his time is running out. But what does he do? He succumbs to it. He succumbs to the inevitability of the Empire and of like the growing structure. And I think that's something that he needs. And I want to get into that at the end of like why he is still with these people. But it's very interesting seeing his perspective.
Yeah, because they've known nothing else. So it's like...
Yeah. But yeah, speaking about that Rampart scene, though. Rampart's back. Last time we saw him, he just found out that the Batch survived. So I assumed as soon as this scene opened, like, oh, he's going to say, yo, motherfucker, Crosshair, why didn't you tell us that the Bad Batch survived? But he doesn't bring him up at all.
He doesn't know that
he's very
really
coy.
That they went on that whole last part of Camino together. Also.
True. Exactly. That's a good point.
He just assumes he was crumbled in the training arena, basically. At least that's how I thought about it.
That's a good point. I didn't think about that. Yeah, he has no idea of their journey underwater.
Because they just bombed the shit and then they left. Like.
Yeah. Good old Irish goodbye.
Oh.
You just drop your shit and leave.
Is that what that is?
Yeah.
Dark.
You don't really culture. You don't really. I do that a lot at college parties. I used to.
Imitate an Irish person? Got it.
Exactly. I had an Irish best friend. He was great. No. Whereas like I don't want to hug and say goodbye to everybody. Go upstairs, downstairs, hug. I'm out of here. Bye. I'll text you that I'm home. That's about it. I hate saying goodbyes. I'm terrible with it. Anyways, that got deep. But
real WandaVision.
So yeah, Rampart. It's so funny because like Rampart's hardly giving him eye contact. He's looking down at his like his files, and he's just like, "Oh, I don't even know why you still want to be here, but it's commendable." I'm just like, you don't care about this guy. Like in Crosshair, it's like fuck subtext. Like this guy doesn't like you, Crosshair. So why do you still want to be here? It's so annoying.
He don't care about you.
He don't care.
They don't love you.
Not at all. Not at all, boy. But yeah, Crosshair is to join. He got requested. The key word. He was requested by another commander. I'm like, oh, this is interesting. Who's requesting Crosshair? Crosshair walks outside. Cutscene.
Holy shit!
We see a clone.
Yeah,
but we don't know it's Commander Cody, and this is very important because gone are the white and yellow trademarks of Cody.
Yeah, of their personality.
Of their personality. It's just a simple grayed out white and black commander officer uniform here.
But I did recognize the shape, and I was like, could it be?
Could it be?
But then he took off his helmet, and I'm like, could it be? Please say the name.
Hey, I'm Rex. Oh shit!
That's so funny.
No. It's Cody. And it was so cool to see Cody because people are like, oh, he should be in Kenobi. He should be in this. He should be in Rebels. Remember every subsequent season of Rebels, people thought Commander Cody was going to show up.
When's the timeline wise? Where's the last official place we saw him? We were talking about this off air, but
yeah, Utapau.
Utapau. Okay.
right?
He shoots down Obi-Wan. They're like, keep searching, sir. No one could have survived that fall, and that's the last we see.
Okay. Damn.
Damn, Nathan.
All right, I've watched this a lot in my youth.
Yeah, how's
Revenge of the
that
Sith has to be the most rewatched I've ever seen.
a movie ever.
Yeah,
Yeah, I don't even know what
it's one of the movies ever.
movies. Yeah. So yeah, last time we saw Cody, who's on Utapau. In Legends, Cody, led. He was strictly part of the Empire, I think.
Damn.
He was not a good guy after Order 66. At least that's the vibe I got from like people talking about Cody in comparison to Legends and to here. But I really love the direction they did Cody in this episode. Cody is kind of like the mirror for what Crosshair could become in a good way. Like you're allowed to make your own decisions, Crosshair. It's not hard. I mean, it is hard. It's always hard to make the right choice. But it's possible with enough strength. And I think Cody exhibited that in this episode. But it was cool seeing Cody here. And we got some great lines here.
Almost didn't recognize you. I'm like, oh, this is classic.
Yeah.
Classic Star Wars right here.
Yeah, almost didn't recognize you with the red arm. No.
New jacket.
Oh, same jacket.
Ah.
No, new jacket.
But yeah, so immediately Crosshair does not recognize Cody because of the white armor. More visual symbolism of Cody losing his identity. Cody is not the same Cody as before. This is a loss of identity for Cody. This is not the Cody that we've come to love from the Clone Wars or from the beginning of Revenge of the Sith before he shot down Kenobi. Cody has succumbed, at this point of his character arc in the episode, succumbed to the Empire. But it was very key that he requested Crosshair. And even though he's like started to lose his way, he kind of broaches the subject to Crosshair, brings it up. Hey, a lot of clones have gone AWOL. I've heard your group, specifically the Bad Batch, or Clone Force 99, he says, went AWOL. I heard about that. And Crosshair immediately disassociates himself from them, saying like, I'm not part of them anymore. It's like, I'm part of the Empire, basically. I'm shorthanding it right there. But Crosshair immediately disassociates himself from those AWOL people, and Cody broaches the subject saying, what do you think about the people going, away from the Empire? And Crosshair replies with, they're all traitors. And Cody, the camera zooms in on Cody's face as he like looks back down at the mural. Right when he says traitors, Cody looks at the mural, big orange light shooting up at him. I bring up orange light because orange light pops up again at the end of the episode. It's very, very, I think, a direct comparison. And I think this is a key point here. Crosshair brings up, hey, they're all traitors. We're not them. Me and you are part of the Empire. We're doing what we're supposed to be doing. We're not the traitors going against our orders. And Cody takes that in, and he's like, yeah, basically like he's silent, and he's like, yeah, you're right. And I think putting this all together subtextually, I think Cody requested Crosshair to have that, how do I phrase this? Like, to bring somebody along that could possibly share his same beliefs. I think he wanted Crosshair to agree with him, or not agree with them, because Crosshair or Cody didn't put himself into an opinion yet. He didn't say like, oh, I think the people who went AWOL are good. But he is saying like I think he's subtextually saying under his breath, basically, like, yeah, those guys that went AWOL, what do we think about that? Is that good? Is that bad? And if Crosshair would have said like, I've been questioning myself too, I think Cody would have jumped on it. I think Cody immediately would have jumped on it and jumped on the possibility that Crosshair is with him. Because I paused it. My brother and I were in simpatico in this. I think as early as the beginning of this episode, Cody was going to go AWOL. Or at least he was considering it. In the Western sense, this was his last rodeo. I think this was his last rodeo, his last straw. As much as he tries to fight against it, I think he had a lot of doubts going into this episode, and they were only confirmed by the end of the episode. This whole ordeal, unfortunate ordeal, really pushed Cody over the edge. I think if it went a different way, Cody might have stuck with the Empire. Of course, I think that's what the episode was trying to tell us. But I think Cody in general was near his last straw. He's seen a lot of what the Empire is doing, and I think he requested Crosshair to come along with him so that he could find a brother. Because as we know from Crosshair in the beginning of the episode, it's lonely being a clone. There's not many of us left. So I think he requested somebody like Crosshair, who was part of Clone Force 99, the notorious group of clones who were, as he says in this very conversation, a group of clones who were programmed to be different. They were programmed to be different. So maybe, just in my head at least, my head canon, he requested Crosshair so that he could bring somebody along who A, was different, and B, who could have shared his beliefs. Of course, unfortunately for Cody, that doesn't go his way, as he learns at the end of this episode, and he goes off alone. Which is why I think Solitary Clone could apply for Crosshair as well as for Cody. They are both solitary clones by the end of the episode, at least. But yeah, as soon as I heard he requested Cody, he requested Crosshair, I'm like, that's a very interesting thing. And then the way he's broaching this subject, I always bring it up on these podcasts, but like I bring up Survivor or Big Brother, just like indirectly trying to say something without saying something. It's like, I think he's telling Crosshair, like, hey, you heard about those clones that went AWOL? I think he's trying to say, like, I agree with those clones. Or what do you feel about those clones? And once he gets a rejection from Crosshair, he puts his hand on his shoulder and he says, good soldiers follow orders. That was spoken by Cody to Crosshair before the scene ended. And I think that was an important distinction, because Cody, he gets that rejection from Crosshair. He doesn't get any kind of like compassion for traitors. And Cody immediately reverts back to like, good soldiers follow orders. I think that was him deflecting his true feelings onto Crosshair. And I think it was more so, I think in my head canon, it was him deflecting his true feelings onto Crosshair, but also him saying like, yeah, I had the chip inside of me. And the chip's kind of like reverberating the good soldiers follow orders. We learned about this in season 7 of the Clone Wars. Whenever you're under duress, whenever you feel like you're struggling against your true ambitions, the chip will program itself into your brain and have you say, good soldiers follow orders. It's a way for the show to tell the audience basically like, this clone's in trouble.
Yeah, they've hit
this
the
clone's
wall.
in trouble. They hit the wall. Yeah, they hit the like the point of not no return, but just like this is what the chip is forcing them to say against their will. So when Cody says this to Crosshair before the scene ends, it's the chip forcing itself out because of Cody's doubts. Of course, we heard it also in season 1, episode 6 or so, when Wrecker was under the control of the chip and he's forcing his way through Omega and he's like, good soldiers follow orders. It's basically saying like, whatever your true thoughts are, the chip's in full control now. So that was a long-winded thing there, but I think again, what I'm trying to say is I think Cody is really in charge, or Cody is really having his doubts as early as the beginning of this episode. But then we cut to, let me see here. We cut to them going to Desix. And on the ride, just like, prior to this, of course, I didn't mention it, but Rampart was telling Crosshair during the mission brief that we don't negotiate with terrorists. We just don't negotiating. And as soon as he said that to Crosshair, who's like never failed a mission, I was already worried for the outcome of this episode. I didn't think we were going to get a Crosshair redemption in this episode alone. We're on episode 3 of 16. So I felt like this was going to be a turning point for Crosshair. But as soon as I heard like we don't negotiate with terrorists, I was like, oh shoot, this isn't going to end well for the Separatists at the beginning of the episode. But yeah, they're on their way on the shuttle, and they're so confident. Cody and the rest of them are so confident. Like, this is under the guise of a diplomatic, what do they call it? Diplomatic mission, and but we got to go in and we're going to surprise them. They're not going to see it coming, guys. We're going to come in surprising them, which is exactly not what's going to happen. They're going to get found out in the next scene. But again, this show, and I talked about it, we'll probably talk about it every single episode of the season. It's so much like Andor. This is the episode 3 when Kyle, what's his name? The Imperial in Andor, who was later demoted with his mom.
Cyril.
Cyril and his buddy were on the shuttle, heading to Ferrix, Desix, very similar. Both wasteland planets who are galvanized by community on the outskirts. Like, I think that was very, not deliberate, but very easily to compare between Ferrix and Desix. But yeah, they're on the shuttle. And on Andor, Cyril was so confident. Or Cyril was nervous, but the other guy was so confident. I think they're both confident in different ways. But anyways, Cody here is confident. Like, they're not going to see it coming. This is a diplomatic mission, but we're going to surprise them. We have the element of surprise. Cut to Tawny Ames. Tawny Ames is the real governor of the show, of the episode. And she's talking to Grattan. And she's like,
we're not falling for this. Diplomatic. Yeah. Diplomatic my ass is basically the scene.
Yeah, it's hilarious.
And then I think we see the droid, like, what droid commander for the first time.
Droid. I think it's just called tactical droid.
Tactical droid. Yeah.
Tactical droid. Yeah, we see the tactical droid, and we sort of set the stage for, like, this tactical droid is going to be up against sending out troops and shit. Little did we know how much they actually have of all this stuff, which is crazy.
Which was amazing.
Yeah, I love seeing all of this, Clone Wars stuff. And as soon as they started throwing the fucking thermal detonators, like, no, I immediately think back to the Saw Gerrera episode where they're training on that planet. And like, roll it slowly, you fucking idiot.
Dude, I put that in my notes because there's a big...
What's that?
Big thing I want to talk about there with that.
That scene was funny. That scene was funny to me. I think
great.
I misremember because I figured it did. You just have to go slow, but while I was watching it, I thought it did go kind of slow. So I was like, did they upgrade their shields?
No, okay. I was confused. So at one point they throw a thermal detonator. Crosshair shoots it. Does he snap off half of it? And then it, like, sticks to the droid, and then the droid falls slowly into the...
Oh, yeah, that was...
You know what I mean? I'm like, what the hell is going on there?
Yeah, you can... you can, like, pass through the shields if you're inorganic, first off.
No, you're talking about...
If you're going slow.
There was a scene where a droid was above Crosshair.
Yeah, he was above on the bridge, like on the bridge structure.
And he throws the grenade.
I'm pretty sure Cody throws it.
Yeah.
And then Crosshair shoots it, and it somehow sticks to the droid.
It sticks to the droid. It lands back down on the droid deck, through the shield because, it's not a weapon. And they both explode.
Then, I had to go back and look at the specifics.
I watched it, but I didn't rewind that part. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah. It happens really fast, but... Because then basically they get... Well, let's first continue talking about the scene with the governor. I can't remember what she's specifically saying.
I got it.
To him.
One moment.
But doesn't she take off her helmet here, or no?
Yeah, this is where we see her for the first time.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
In the last.
No. Beautiful young woman, younger than she assumed to be. I assumed her to be.
Star Wars, I need you to stop giving me so many baddies. I need you to stop.
And then killing them, Star Wars.
I have too many baddies on my plate. I need you to stop.
Oh my God.
I had the same issue with My Hero Academia. I'm like, they give us so many great women and then just end up like killing them or discarding them.
Yeah, speaking. We can't.
No, I can almost spoil it.
Wow.
But anyways, so Tawny says, despite the Separatists losing the war, Dooku was right about the Republic. And this is before.
Okay, I found this so fascinating because is she buying into the fact that, like, because it's so interesting looking back to last week of like, okay, Dooku literally fucked us over. He was all about personal gain, blah 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 blah. And then this week she's like, oh, Dooku knew like that a worsening thing was coming. I'm like, damn, you really bought the propaganda because
no, but she's right. He's right.
Yeah, but Dooku orchestrated it. Dooku orchestrated the Empire coming to fruition through the Emperor.
Well,
so I'm like, you're
yes.
not getting the full picture of what Dooku's thinking, and obviously nobody would unless you knew Dooku.
We don't, even today, we still don't know Dooku's endgame post-Empire, post Order 66. Dooku knew about Order 66, but he didn't know about, like, was Dooku going to lead the Empire just as another, would he have been in Vader's shoes? And I don't think he would have.
I mean, he still would have been like the second most powerful guy in the galaxy with all of his wealth, with all of his resources, with everything he's plundered.
You're 100% right, but I don't think that was Dooku's endgame.
I think as close as you can get to an idea of an endgame for Dooku was when he had Obi-Wan captured and Attack of the Clones, and he was propositioning, "Join me."
And what did he say?
We could.
Right, and ultimately that's the failure. Is like, I think you guys are right because he was too selfish to.
But I think
he wanted to take more eventually.
He wanted to take more. I think Dooku would have killed Palpatine. That's what I was trying to say. I think Dooku would have 100% killed Palpatine. Palpatine made the right move by having him get killed by somebody more susceptible in Anakin. But I think Dooku 100% would have killed Palpatine. I think inside he doesn't like people that are corrupt, which is why I think Tawny here was correct.
Dooku, but it's I found it more interesting from the perception of like, what was the public perception of Dooku from somebody who is a separatist planet, wasn't Dooku's home planet, was someone who was fucked over by the war, but is still saying this man had his ideology of like, oh, he knew something worse would be coming. So it's very interesting to me.
Dooku was talking out of both sides of his mouth because like he's saying, I knew the public would become like this. And he did because Palpatine told him. But he also knew a lot Tales of the Jedi, right? Like the 3 episodes we saw with Dooku and Tales of the Jedi, what were the main themes? Corruption of the Republic, senators not caring for their people, and a growing force that was unjust. And they were occupying lands that weren't rightfully theirs. That's the same exact thing that's happening in this episode. Dooku was right. The Republic was
It's
corrupt.
so interesting because then I think of like the whole thing of like, it reminds me of like the opening line of Dune, like, who will be our next oppressors? Like when Chani's like,
wow,
you know what I mean? Like, like it just happening so often and so frequently at this point to all these planets that it's blurred the line. It doesn't matter who it is anymore. We've shut down completely, and you know who is the next person we're gonna have to fight essentially.
That's the sad thing about Star Wars. Yeah, it's very cyclical. It never ends. I mean, it kind of ends in Tross, but doesn't. I won't get into that. But I was like, the idea of war is never ending. So it's going to take somebody or some people, a group, to stop it. But maybe that's
more of us.
More of us.
Poe.
Thank you, guys. I did not remember that line. Maybe that's the theme for this season, where
more of us clones.
More of us clones, where I think there's definitely going to be a clone rebellion. There has to be some kind of stormtrooper rebellion, right? No.
Yeah. Will we ever get the rebellion that's not the rebellion?
Hopefully. I mean, I hope the show knows that the piece that they are setting forth are a clone trooper rebellion. I'll be very disappointed if this show doesn't. I mean, I'm not saying this better happen, but I'm just like, I'll be shocked if this show doesn't give us a clone trooper rebellion.
I think the fundamental thing of having like Omega at the crux of this is like, you know, choosing good for the future of, you know, humanity.
Yes.
And Omega didn't fight in the war. She has her whole life ahead of her, and it shows them that they can, you know, fight for something that's different and a different purpose than being soldiers, and they also that they can distinguish what's good and what's bad for just Omega and people alike.
Exactly.
So I think you're right, and I see that's where this season is going, is that like, you know, they will start to realize that they can, and I think Fives had already, or whoever said this last episode of like, or Echo was like,
Fives dead.
Sorry,
he's alive in our hearts.
He sure.
Damn it. But I think he said this last episode of like, there are more people like us out there that need our help or something, like very deliberately when they're arguing in the old guy's house.
That was totally Echo. Yeah.
And so I think that's very kind of a clear telegraph of hopefully where this is all heading.
Exactly. A great stuff.
It's good.
And yeah, this is why I mentioned it last week, but we're going to be bringing up a lot of Tales of the Jedi, a lot of Andor similarities because these things reflect what's happening in Andor big time.
And I love seeing like the different slices of the galaxy being impacted by the same things. Like, yes, obviously, like, before the show even came out, I'm like, oh, this is, like we've seen this a million times before. But even I'm getting so many different shades of like different things happening under the same events, essentially, that it's like so interesting. And I never expected that of this show. And I think season 2 has already set that up in these first 3 episodes of how interesting these conflicts and takeovers can be, and then how it ultimately affects, like, what should us 5 people do about it? We're just 5 people,
Yes,
like,
yes. Which is the brilliance of this show. It's a macro and the micro. On the macro level, we see the ever-evolving changes of the galaxy. Like, we see what's happening with the Bad Batch transitioning to, the Republic transitioning to the Empire, and what that brings with the Separatists, the Republic, and other planets. But the micro is like, how is this going to affect a little girl like Omega? And how is she going to impact 5 clones?
That's why last week was so brilliant of like, even her, who's so innocent, is already feeling the burden of like, I have to like provide, otherwise we're like fucked.
Yeah.
It still breaks my heart.
It's deep. But pushing forward, I didn't take any notes here because it's very basic action sequences. But I just said action sequences were great, and bringing back to what Carson was saying, the whole ordeal when they get past the bridge. But actually, let me talk about the bridge scene. I did love the whole discussion when they're outnumbered, they get gunned down. Of course, it's just Crosshair and Cody, and then 3 other clones. And Cody says like, "We're in trouble now," basically. But Crosshair says like, "No, we've done this before, and especially because they're just droids. Like, they're just droids. There's only a certain amount of things they can do." And I think that was very deliberate because Cody brings that up at the very end of the episode where he says like, "We're not droids."
Our option is to choose.
Our option is to choose. So it was very funny and interesting how Crosshair made great work of these of these droids in awesome fashion, like shooting down the barrel.
That shit was insane.
That was awesome. He's basically showing us how these droids go in preordained directions. There's a certain amount of things they can do. They're like AI. It's like there's only about a couple of things.
Yeah, he simultaneously doesn't realize that he's buying into somebody who treats him like that.
Exactly. Like Crosshair, you're going against yourself because you're in essence a droid. You're losing.
I know what you are.
Literally.
You're losing your soul, basically. You're becoming robotic. Very, Darth Vader, like he's more machine now than man. Like you're losing your essence in itself. And I think that's where Cody's going. He's not losing limbs. He's not falling to the dark side, but you're still falling into that same trap, which is why Crosshair is such an interesting character. But then we get like, as they get into the courtyard, the sound design in this episode is fantastic because you hear the droidekas before the droidekas even appear.
Yeah, and you like sort of get in their head of like they know what that sound is, and I thought that was so interesting that they did it like that because how many hundreds of times have they fought these things and they instantly know, and it was like bam, we were back in the Clone Wars.
It was so cool. Like this is like if you're playing Battlefront, if you're playing Lego Star Wars, you know that sound instinctively.
Master Destroyer is like instantly in my head.
Right back in the mess.
And they're deadly. I mean, droidekas in closed off areas are always
they're
deadly.
so OP.
I mean, that's why the droidekas are like most susceptible in big outside areas. So you can do so much more with it. You can get around them or whatever. If they're in closed off areas, you get murked, just like that one clone trooper did. Like he got droideka pulled right up to him and just like laughed at him 4 times.
Laughed at him 4 times.
It was pretty bad. But then, we get some cool shots between the clones. And like Carson mentioned, I immediately thought of the Saw Gerrera moment.
As soon as that shit started bouncing around, I'm like, no!
You're doing it wrong! But thinking back to that sequence, I think that deliberately goes with like why this action sequence is cool, but very much so we know from the beginning of the bridge scene all the way up to get to the top of the tower, while these scenes are cool, it just feels wrong. Like everything about this feels very much wrong. Like Jalen and I were talking about it, like this is cool, but it feels bad. Like Like,
it doesn't feel like we're fighting the right fight, and very deliberately. So by the time we get up there into the
unknown,
where it cuts back to the lady with the mask, and she's like, basically protect, we have to protect up here protect the governor essentially at all costs, so they can't get him.
But yeah, it feels so wrong. Like, we've watched thousands of episodes of the Clone Wars, give or take 1,000.
I think I know what I wanted to say about this shot of when the door opens and it's the child and the mom sitting there is best exemplified this whole point they were talking about.
Exactly. Because it's a cartoon, it's not very subtextual. It's basically saying like, this is wrong, because if you're pointing a gun at a child and a mother, that's a big eye opener. It's like, wait, what the fuck am I doing?
What are you fighting for?
And even like Cody's trying to stay in his ideals, just like, oh, we're here to help. Like, he's just like naturally like that because he has been there to help liberate planets. But this is you're invading theirs.
It's a whole different context. Yeah,
you're in the wrong shoes, buddy. They don't even say anything. They just like scared and run away.
Close the door. But my God, this whole staircase sequence was incredible.
Awesome.
And for a second, they get like because we revealed that they have like those, what are those
commando droids?
Commando droids. Those fuckers can jump around like frogs.
I love them. Like, especially their physical combat is so cool to witness.
It's so cool.
Shows. It's very hard to like go against them unless you're a Jedi. If you're a clone, you're just getting your face bopped in. And
it sort of reminded me of James Bond going up the stairs in No Time to Die at the very end there.
Oh yeah,
when he's going around and around, just like hiding under the stair and like trying, like hiding behind like 1 inch of concrete and just fighting his way up. Mm-hmm. And they both get sort of pinned down, right?
Yeah, Crosshair starts to get choked out by the commando droid. Cody. I like that small bit where he just says Cody. Yeah. He doesn't say Commander Cody. Like,
doesn't say the CT number.
He didn't say the CT number. Like, you feel like the brotherhood there, which again,
and I think that comes.
It's giving us
in the
flashbacks
first scene when he finds out it's Cody. Doesn't he say Commander Cody? And then I think the guy says back to him. Rampart goes, "No, CT, blah blah blah."
Yeah.
3224.
No. Actually, like, he first knows it's Cody outside after he meets.
Right. Okay. And then later
on,
he says when he gets the new mission assigned.
He says, "Where's Commander?"
He says, "Not Commander Cody," and the guy says, "No, CT-994 will be doing something else." Or no, he went rogue.
Yeah,
in AWOL.
Rogue. Mm-hmm. But yeah, again, it's giving us that glimpse of brotherhood that Crosshair used to know, that Cody used to know. Like, if he was good, but we know if he was wrong, and I think Cody as well knows, like, he's saving his brother. This is all cool, but it feels wrong.
And we get to that standstill moment when they get up there. It's like now the ethical dilemma comes out because
this is the meat and potatoes of the episode right here, boys.
Of the episode. So
it's
we get that
stuff.
Dooku bit right about separatists, and again, this whole season is redefining how the separatist perspective, especially in front of clones.
Yeah, last week Echo and Romero, I think was his old guy's name, were talking George? Exactly. Which I don't think his name was Romero because I think of him George Romero. But, anyways, old white dude in the last episode was like, there's a difference between Serenian and Separatist, and Echo's eyes were opened. Cody, I think, it's interesting. Cody hasn't gone AWOL like Echo or like Tech. But he knows the difference between a bad person and a good person, contrary to Tech.
Right.
And
you start to see like the sadness of it is because when, like, in the midst of like a Clone Wars episode, and if a clone, like, especially like the leaders like Commander Cody would, like, this would be something they would do. They would talk down a civilian and like obviously, so they do that all the time. And so it was so tragic to see him default into that mode and yet not realize everything that's happening. And then by the time, it's sort of too late, he's frozen. Literally frozen.
He's at a standstill with himself. It's so deep, and this whole scene is so complex. And I think, again, the lighting is very intentional. I mentioned at the beginning of this episode, when they're on Coruscant's very gray, and the only piece of light was coming from that orange mural on the wall between Cody and Crosshair. We see the orange light again. Desix is a sandy planet. So the orange light reflects when Tawny comes out of the shadows with Governor Grattan gun to his throat. She comes out of the shadows into the light. So she's under the light. And to the right of her, near the doorway, is Crosshair and Cody in the cover of darkness. Like the show is telling us, like, she is in the good here. She's in the light. Crosshair and Cody. Crosshair,
fucking animation in this show.
Crosshair more so was in the darkness because he's to the left of Cody. He's in like the shadows.
Yeah,
Cody's
in the back still.
Cody's still in the back. The light of the doorway of the hallway is still there.
It's the most cinematic Saturday morning cartoon I've ever seen, man.
Exactly. Like this is what's so intentional.
If George would have had access to these fucking textures and
he would have lost his mind.
He would have lost his goddamn mind.
I started the episode and they had that gorgeous shot of the exterior of the city.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just sitting there. I'm like, has this show always been widescreen? What the
fuck? It's so good. And I think like other prominent animation episodes use lighting to this effect as well. When they're on top of Twilight of the Apprentice, of course, the most iconic episode. When Vader comes down, it's darkness, but there's light. The light's shining onto himself and Ahsoka because, you know, he used to be Anakin. They're going to talk about who he used to be. So it's that duality between darkness and light in Twilight of the Apprentice. And we get it again here, where like Tawny is under the light and she says, let me see here. Cody immediately starts to empathize with her, say like, we're not so different from each other. Put down your weapon.
And then he takes off his helmet and shows her that he's a clone. And basically says, you know, we both fought in a war. There's no need to start another one, essentially.
Exactly.
And I think that's where the governor chimes in. It's just like, shoot her, dude. Like, what are you doing? Like,
he's like, keep on shooting. Yeah, like, shoot her. Like, don't hesitate. And she's saying, like, we can't do this. You guys attacked us.
Oh, man, there's a tragic line that she has. I can't remember what she says.
He replies, like, he says, you shot down 2 Imperial transports. And she was like, I was doing it out of self-defense. And he says, he said, we are not the enemy. We are trying to establish peace and order throughout the Empire. Where have we heard this? Every time. Anakin Skywalker Revenge of the Sith. Peace and security in my new empire.
Oh my god.
Krennic.
And then after this,
my new
like,
empire.
Doesn't she say so much for peace or
so
something?
So much for peace. Peace was never an option, she said. Which is perfect. There was never an option. So much for peace because she knows what's about to happen.
Yeah.
But yeah, again, that line, peace and security in my empire. Like, Cody didn't say mine because he doesn't associate himself with the empire. But it's like that notion of peace and security. That's what these people have to keep telling themselves what they're doing.
They already had that. They were independent. Leave them alone.
Exactly. Like, we had peace and security. Like, the independent nation of Desix had peace and security without the Empire. The Empire was doing just fine, but it wants to exhibit power. It wants to exhibit control. And again, like Carson said, this is when he takes off his helmet and he's like, you know what? We've both been through enough war. We fought in a lot of wars. We don't want to start another one. And that's when she's like, that's when she starts to like lower down her gun because she's right. She doesn't want to get into a fight. And I kind of knew she wasn't going to be able to kill the governor because strategically, if I'm Tawny, the governor would have been dead before they arrived. I'm sorry. It's like the governor's dead, set the trap. Hopefully you kill off the clones. Unfortunately, you ran into Crosshair. Like, if Crosshair wasn't here, the mission would have been pretty successful. I don't think Cody would have been able to do what he did.
But the tragedy is ultimately they just would have sent a battalion.
That's the tragedy of it all. This never would have ended. Whether it was Crosshair, it would have been somebody else, numbers, etc. It was never going to go her way, unfortunately, for Desix and for her. But she also says here that during the enemy line or peace line, I also forgot to mention, she says, Mina Monteri and I set out a peace treaty with separatists and Republic.
That's right.
Supreme Chancellor rejected it. Peace was never an option. We saw this episode in the Clone Wars when Mina Monteri, I think she was with, I think that was the Ahsoka episode where she goes with Padme. And that's when she first meets the Monteris. And she's like, I thought separatists were bad. It's that episode of the Clone Wars. People who watch the Clone Wars know. And she starts to fall in love, not fall in love, but like, crush on the other younger Bonteri kid. Lux, I think, Bonteri. Anyways, so it's kind of cool that we got this Clone Wars throwback here. But again, yeah, peace is never an option. Supreme Chancellor rejected it because he could. He's in charge of everything. He has power. He doesn't need to fall in for these treaties. That's why he took away the Senate in A New Hope. He doesn't need these people anymore. Yeah. This was beautiful. And then, of course, she doesn't shoot him. She gives him to she gives the governor to Crosshair and Cody. And
then I'm just like, what's gonna happen? What's gonna happen?
Peace is never an option. Blah blah blah. She gets shot by Crosshair.
It was so sad.
It was off screen too, and then it cuts to Crosshair. So good.
Yeah, Cody's just like
no, but like he was like the commander is saying, all right, now shoot her, sir. I promised her peaceful. You promised her. I didn't.
God, that shit.
Prick.
I hate it. I hate it, Bob.
Everything hurts.
And everything after this episode, after the sequence, is peak fiction.
Oh, I loved it.
My brain thinks on the one hand, like, oh, Crosshair, why'd you do it? But on the other hand, it's like, did he help Cody by not making him do it?
That's
okay. Shit.
Shit. Like Crosshair is already. Oh man,
that's a good point. I did not even think of that. That's a.
It's like he doesn't like they've killed so many droids and everything, and then it's like he doesn't want Cody to have to cross that line, even though.
I don't think that's what's happening. I think that's optimistically. I think that's a little bit of what Crosshair is doing.
I think subconsciously. I don't think he actually. I think he, like you said, he just falls to order. But
falls to order. But I like when
I think we get attached at least a little bit of
exactly,
that.
Of course.
I don't talk for 30 minutes and then I come out with a banger.
But everything after this scene is peak Bad Batch, peak Star Wars animation. We get no dialogue. As they walk outside, the dialogue cuts, and we just get this beautiful, somber, haunting, chilling Kevin Kiner score as the sun is setting on Desix. And another Imperial transit comes down, and Cody looks at it. No dialogue is spoken, but we know Cody doesn't recognize these people.
It's the Finn moment. He's like, what am I fighting for? I don't recognize myself. I don't recognize who these people are. Like, are these other clones? Are these other troopers? We can't tell because they're so synonymous with the Empire right now that it doesn't really matter. All personality has been stripped out. It's just a massive evil.
Yeah, like they've been stripped away. Stripped away.
I don't think I should have done that
one. It's tragic for Cody. Yeah. Can't give shit face. Anyway.
I saw a tweet today that was like, if the purge was real for 24 hours, like all crime was legal, I would silently whisper to myself in a Jamaican accent. So what's that?
Let's go.
Okay.
That's bad.
That's awful. Please sponsor us, Lucasfilm. So yeah, on Desix, he sees new troops coming in. Crosshair walks past him, straight onto the transport. No word spoken. Cody looks one. Cody, yeah, exactly. It's back to work for Crosshair. Cody takes one step back, looks, and just climbs back onto the ship, puts his helmet on. It's like, Cody's like, fuck, like this isn't what I signed up for. I didn't sign up for this. And on Coruscant, we get a different scene, but it's filled with a lot of impact here because in contrast to when Cody first met Crosshair at the beginning of the episode, there's a noticeable amount of space between them. On this orange mural, the back of where they started, it's raining. And Cody asked Crosshair, are they making their galaxy a better place?
Not at all, boy.
Basically, are we healing the galaxy? Because they used to feel like we're healing. We used to feel like we're healing the world here. And Crosshair replies, they're soldiers. They do what needs to be done. Ouch. Cody replies, they're not droids. We think, we act, we do our actions for ourselves. We can make our own choices, good or bad. And we live with them too. And we live with them too. I think he says that. And this is such a powerful moment because, like I mentioned a lot up top, I think earlier on, Cody didn't say this kind of conversation to Crosshair initially. He just says like, hey, you know about the soldiers who went AWOL? What about that? That's crazy, right? And when Crosshair says like, they're traitors, he's like, oh, okay, good soldiers follow orders. He kind of pulls back. This time, there's distance between them. Cody says like, he gets up to him. He's like, he basically, and I disagree. Like, we're not droids. We make our own actions. We make our own decisions. Right. This is what Crosshair needs
even
to
tactical decisions we saw, like, which I think I love that it all boils down to this because like, even in the episodes, like Cody saves Crosshair, like in the stairway, like Cody helps him throw up the mirror and then kill the droid or whatever.
Yeah,
like we just see that camaraderie, and then it's all the more tragic of like Cody having to say like, we made those choices, right? Like, you know, like what is our distance between our choices and in a droid's choices? Like what is good, what is bad, essentially. And it's just so
exactly. I mean, you bring up that reminds me how the droids were constantly saying, what's the commander telling us to do? Like they kept relying on the tactical commander to make these strategic maneuvers.
Oh, side note, the funniest they did, this one droid goes it's so long. It's so funny
when the droids had the governor.
One of my favorite like droid combos ever.
The droids are on fire this week.
I love they shot down the gunship. They're just like, yes,
so direct hit.
No damage. Sorry.
I missed him.
It was great. But yeah, Cody's just not having it. He's like, we make our own choices, good or bad, and he walks off. And this is important. I think he had to say this to Crosshair. He was expecting, in my head, Crosshair to be with him at the beginning of the episode. But when he shot Tawny, I think Cody realized Crosshair's not with me. This is what he needs to be. This is what needs to be said. This is what Cody needs to hear for himself. And he walks off immediately, probably to go AWOL, collect his things, and head out of there.
Try to escape.
Yeah, successfully. Hopefully, I assume this means the Bad Batch will run into Cody in a future episode. Do you guys agree?
I can see it being like that shot in the trailer where Rex is asking for help. Maybe Rex is helping get.
It was confirmed that Cody got escaped.
Yeah,
he went AWOL.
You went AWOL.
Oh, I just assumed that they like took him in after the mission. I don't know why I thought that.
Oh no,
I thought he was in prison.
Yeah, we'll say it. We'll say it when he comes back. When Rampart comes up here. But I'll just cut to it. Yeah, when Crosshair, you know, we get a reflective shot where he's back into his little
same room,
dark room. Again, it's telling us like, no matter your experiences for Crosshair, it's that cyclical thing. It's like you're gonna go right back to where you started, Crosshair. Nothing's changing under the Empire, unfortunately, for Crosshair. He goes back, solitude in the dining hall. He's about to eat. The Rampart calls him again. Bueller. And I think he gets called to the principal's office, and Rampart's like, basically, doesn't he kind of make a dig at Crosshair too? He's like, well, first off, he's like, here's your next mission, report to commander, blah, blah, blah. Crosshair says, what happened to Cody? Rampart says, who? You mean CT, blah, 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 blah. He went AWOL recently. He kind of shrugged it off.
I also love that moment when Crosshair does have to say his number. He says it more annoyed, like he cares about the person Cody at that point.
He does. He did. And again, Rampart has such a nonchalant attitude. He's just scrolling through the mission briefs. He's like, oh, yeah, I don't care. Like, they don't even care if people went AWOL now because they don't need the clones.
They're getting more recruitments every day, I guess.
Exactly. Yeah. Power in numbers. They get more. That defense recruitment bill is in place. Or it's about to be in place. Rampart does not care about that. But it symbolizes Cody escaped. This is what Crosshair could happen. You don't have to wake up in that cold, dark room. You don't have to eat by yourself. You have the option to leave, and they won't care. He is seeing this happen, that they won't care if he leaves.
Right.
but he takes the mission anyways, and he walks off. That's the end of the episode. So it's just shocking how. I mean, I guess this is what I'm going to ask you guys. Like, why is Crosshair still here? What is Crosshair's prerogative? Like, what is he? Does he feel like he just can't escape?
I don't think he wants to be wrong. If he
might be
know,
scared.
there's a certain part of anybody that denying their own failure.
Yeah.
You know, like that's
Ow.
how, and it's not even he's so wrong. It's that he can't even admit to himself that that it was just horrible, and so yeah, I think there's some denial going on, and
Yeah.
I also think that maybe he's sort of like, well, I'll just get to the next mission and then, I'll be fine. And da-da-da-da-da. Like, there's not going to be, like, these ethical dilemmas with a clone on the next mission, like, whatever. Like, but I guarantee there's going to be more shit that's going to make him question everything continually this season.
More trials for Crosshair, hopefully. And that's
Trials
what,
of the Crosshair.
And, yeah, like, when do you guys think Crosshair and the Batch are going to meet through this season?
mid-season finale.
Mid-season finale?
Because there's a 2-part in the middle, so probably then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just like
I think
last
so,
season.
too. That would be
man.
so interesting.
I just hope, in the grand scheme of things, Crosshair does not sacrifice himself for.
Will Crosshair be assigned
Exactly.
to hunt down the Batch secretly by
Secret-
Rampart?
I don't know. If Rampart didn't mention it here, is he ever going to? Because I think Rampart doesn't want to. Also, doesn't want to admit he's
But
wrong.
the Batch is going to become
Yeah.
continually more of a problem, as evidenced by they're eventually in front of Palpatine. They're gonna get back on the radar again.
Ooh, especially when they free the Wookiee Jedi. What's his name?
Yeah,
Gunji.
Gunji.
Gunji. I think that's gonna be big on Palpatine's radar.
Yeah.
Shit, it should be on Vader's radar. Vader's like, I'll deal with these people. That'd be crazy.
It's Vader in this show.
Is Vader in this season? Please don't. We don't need him. But it'll be
I
crazy.
don't know how the Batch go against Vader. That doesn't seem.
Yeah, that's.
Palpatine's in the show.
I still am like, where is this gonna go? Are they
It's a
gonna zap
hologram.
him? Like,
I don't know.
Yeah, bye Gunji.
Damn.
something
Wookiee.
burning?
Oh no.
No.
Wookiee for breakfast.
Stop.
New
Jesus
carpet.
Christ.
Jay carpet.
Wow.
New Kashyyykian carpet.
Cut it out.
Stop.
Get him off
Stop.
stage.
What are you showing me? But in general, this was a fantastic episode. This was a last straw for Cody and one of many straws for Crosshair, hopefully. I just hope Crosshair, again, doesn't sacrifice himself. And I hope we get some episodes, plural, with Crosshair on the good side. Give me Last Airbender, Season 3, where we got at least 4 to 5 episodes of good Zuko. Give me
That's what I
good
think is going to
Crosshair
happen in
by
Bad
the
Batch
end.
season 3.
Why am I so bad at being good?
I think season 3 will be the last season, personally.
Oh, so you think they're going to do it in one more season?
Yeah.
I hope so. This feels like a conclusive season to me, but I would love it. I would love it. I would
I mean,
love
we'll see.
more missions.
We do have we have 14 more episodes of development. It is insane.
That's crazy.
Or I meant 13.
13 now, yeah. But in general, yeah, fantastic episode. Kevin
Yeah, I wish
Kiner
I could say I
score.
had fun, but like,
Yeah, I didn't have any fun.
Cool action.
I had no fun in
Yeah.
a good way.
Cool trick shot.
Cool trick shot. That mirror shot was just badass. So amazing.
This is Captain America's shield level of physics. I don't know how he did that.
Yeah.
Well, and I also just realized because it's like literally spinning, so it had to like
Yeah.
that last.
It's a
one
right side.
as it's without. I don't know.
Physics, baby.
I love it. I love
I don't
it.
get it.
Truly, this is a fantasy show. Let's go.
Let's go. But yeah, Kevin Kiner score also deserves recognition because the score was amazing.
Oh,
Those that last couple.
The score is the most of a banger whenever Crosshair's on screen. That like synth wave.
Yes.
Beautiful.
I
Yeah.
know exactly what you're talking about.
Mm-hmm. Before we end the episode, though, there's some rumors I want to talk about. Star Wars movie rumors.
Rumors? You?
Rumors.
I'm
Me.
disappointed. No, I'm kidding.
I mean,
Scoops even.
I don't like Star Wars film rumors, but like, I don't mind them when especially when it's film rumors. When you don't know anything about films, Lucasfilm,
Do
you
I
still
know
make
about
them,
these
right?
rumors? I don't
If for
know.
nothing else, they're fun topics to be like,
Exactly.
What do we think?
We're just gonna ponder these.
Drop
So
it on me. I don't know what this is.
This from Star Wars Newsnet. A new rumor indicates that the next Star Wars movie, directed by Sharmeen Obaid-Chinoy, written by Damon Lindelof, as we talked about last year, will star a person of color. In addition, the rumor indicates
That's a rumor. No, okay.
In addition, the new rumor indicates that the new Star Wars movie meant to release in 2025, 2026, and 2027. I think that has to be incorrect. 2026 is Avatar. Right? Unless Avatar
Unless
4
they
got
put Star
delayed,
Wars in May.
which will never happen.
Not then.
They're never going to put Star Wars in May. They
Well,
never
if you just
are.
market it longer and better.
No!
I'm saying
Because look, if they still want a Star Wars movie in 2025, that'll be December 2025. So that means a Star Wars movie in 2026, the year afterwards,
yeah, it's not happening.
is 5 months again.
I
It's like
I
don't
think I call
but
bullshit in a movie coming out in 2026.
That wasn't the whole scoop, anyways.
I think they'll continue to alternate.
I agree too. But yeah, he says they want a female person of color for their 2025 movie. Again, this is Damon Lindelof and
movie, Captain Marvel director.
Sharmeen Chinoy's film as well. What do they say here?
Wait a second.
Which makes sense, especially that will be coming off. Hopefully, Acolyte's a huge show that has a huge person of color.
So yeah,
cast
the big part is like
can lead.
They say Taika Waititi's Star Wars project. They're not sure about in terms of status. Same thing for Kevin Feige's. They say the most traction at this moment is heading towards a Lindelof movie, which will be 2025, and Taika Waititi's movie or any other movie will be set for 2026 or 2027. They don't know. Dates are subject to change.
Obviously.
But most importantly, they say these movies, or the first movie, again, Damon Lindelof's movie, will be starting production this summer with an announcement to possibly be had at Celebration. So for filming, they say, I don't know.
Start production this summer?
Yeah, filming / production this summer.
2023.
With an announcement at Celebration. Which gives them plenty of time, because usually, I just Skywalker had a year.
It's going to be a year and a half in post.
That's true. I mean, Ant-Man filmed in the spring of 2022, January 2022, when they started Ant-Man 3, and it's just now coming out 2023.
That's true.
So they had like over a year.
I mean, I always would want to have more time for VFX anyway. So
exactly, like I always want more time.
Let them cook.
But yeah, they say I think it's going to be shooting soon. I think we're going to find out a lot at this year's Star Wars Celebration. I think that's when they will reveal the future plans for the next 4 to 5 years. Do you guys think that's possible at this celebration? Are we going to get a slate? I hate that word, but
slate.
Yeah,
I think it's possible. I mean, it's been long enough since 2019. They've been through multiple different iterations of what they've wanted to do. Rogue Squadron seems unlikely to happen ever at this point.
Where's that Lando show?
The what?
Gone. Lando.
Oh, Lando?
Gone.
I'm talking about movies right now.
Yeah.
And then, what was the other thing that was announced? I guess.
Again, it's just Patty.
Well, I guess it seemed like the Taika thing was moving faster than we thought when it was officially announced and all that.
Yeah. We thought that was going to be the 2025 film.
Yeah.
But I guess after Thor: Love and Thunder, like Taika needs a break. Like he's making all these movies, like give him a break. Because again, I think he's hard at work on the script. But during the whole press for Love and Thunder, he kept reiterating like, I'm cracking the script right now. So it's like he seemed very early in the script phase just a couple months ago. So I think, it'd be good to have Damon. And remember when we were talking about the Damon Lindelof movie, that there's a whole writers' room. So they have a whole team apparently. Again, nothing's official. A whole team of writers working on this next movie, making sure.
Yeah,
It's
you had
as
to
tight as it
wonder
can be.
if it's going to be a standalone thing or if
That's what they
actually a
said.
redo.
I think THR, whoever broke the whole Lindelof news, said like they have a writer's room and they want it to be a single story with room for sequels, but they want it to be a beginning and a good end.
Nail one.
This
First.
isn't going to be like The Force Awakens on top of
Yeah.
a cliff. Dun, 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 dun. Like it's not going to be leading into a sequel like TFA to TLJ. It'll be one complete story with room for a sequel, which is like any other good movie, like an Iron Man, for example. One complete story with room for a sequel, which is what they should be doing. But if Damon Lindelof's doing a movie, then Taika Waititi's doing a movie, I don't expect them to be related. They're just going to be doing one-off movies, which is what I want. And yeah, I would love to get a slate or some. I don't even need a slate. Just give me a news on the 2025 movie, because we were supposed to have a movie this year, and that was never officially like announced by Lucasfilm that it's over. It's just like was subtly taken away.
They just took it off the
calendar. Yeah. So we haven't really heard anything about that. So yeah, I hope we get some movie news. It sucks because I can't go to Celebration. I can go to Celebration this year. Nobody else is going, so I'm like, I guess I won't go. Thanks, Carson and Nathan.
Look,
I
man,
would like to go. My wallet would not like to go.
it's like $1,000 for a ticket and another for the living. Like,
yeah, that's a lot. It's like $2,000 easily.
which, yeah, that's just.
Oh, Nathan, we can talk about what we did off air last. I forget when we were doing it. I think it was last Tuesday, previous Tuesday. We were like, what did Celebration live stream do?
We were
at
coming
this
through.
year's Celebration, because if we can't go and they do have a panel about films, I hope they will be smart enough to put it on YouTube. Like,
I'm going to think they will actually because it's London.
That's what I said too.
I hope they heard us last year.
Last year was a joke, and we were there.
We were there, and we pulled our
see
we pulled our 2019 move from Chicago. We were like, okay, let's go to the stage. So we can't get in. That's fine. We'll just be here. They're gonna show us.
They're
gonna show it. And we're 20 minutes in, and we're still getting fucking stickers thrown at us. And I'm just like, Bob,
it was ridiculous. Like the show stage
Sean's gone. Like
the show stage would start an hour after the big panels. For example, we didn't see the Mandalorian panel, but an hour later, here's an interview with Dave Filoni. No, like show us the panel. We looked up the stream, the Star Wars show live stream of days 1 through 4 from this previous celebration.
There's not much on there.
The only panels that were shown was the High Republic, which I like. Please show the High Republic panel for this year too.
20th anniversary.
20th anniversary. I think Attack of the Clones panel was shown. Did I mention that? I think it did. And
that is.
And then it was just. Oh yeah, sorry. And
They
then
didn't
it
show
was
any
just
of the
like
trailers from that first Disney Plus panel or the. I
sure
guess
they
they showed Andor because the Andor trailer came out online.
Yeah,
that was all online.
But
then
the whole Lucasfilm thing wasn't there. Tales wasn't there.
Tales wasn't there. Mando wasn't there. Like a lot
Bad
of
Batch. They streamed Bad Batch.
Bad Batch was not there either, which is crazy.
They dropped a different cut of the trailer. Why?
Yes.
A different cut of the trailer that wasn't on. Oh yeah, no, it was on YouTube. But yeah, and then like the tweets about like the panels were very basic and not interesting. Nathan had more interesting fake tweets during the panels.
They're like Rick, like they said Rick Famuyiwa joining like as longboard story consultant. It was like, oh cool. As is Peyton Reed in a very strong connection.
Crazy. So hopefully, because it is London, that they stream a lot more of these big panels. That's just like I beg, because I want to learn more about High Republic. I want to learn more about like what is this? Is this Return of the Jedi's year? Return of the Jedi panel.
It is.
Yeah, give me a lot of news and give me some movie news. We need to hear some movie news. Last year it was crazy.
I think we will.
A lot of the movie news came from like articles.
There was
during
no news,
celebration.
Really. It was just like basically the interviews backstage of saying, "Oh, we're working on it."
Yeah. Oh, and a panel for the Acolyte. Acolyte's gonna be the biggest show for next year.
Oh.
Yeah.
Like, show us the Acolyte. A panel for the Acolyte. If they don't give us a panel for the Acolyte, I'll be pissed.
Oh, they 100% will.
I'll be pissed.
There'll be an Acolyte panel. There'll be a movie panel. Hopefully, there'll be a
Mando season 4.
Mando verse panel. Probably.
Probably Ahsoka panel, maybe.
Yeah, I'm including that in Mandoverse.
Yeah. But that probably
and
be
then
a big drop, right?
I think there'll be a animation panel, maybe.
We're talking for this celebration coming in April, right?
Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah. Okay.
You think there's gonna be an animation panel? I was just asking off air. I think
Surely there's more animation stuff in the works.
That's what I'm thinking too. Like Bad Batch, so far as we know, is the last big season 2 is the last big animation project. We have like the young.
They'll want to announce what
High
they're doing next.
Yeah, exactly. Like we have that young High Republic show. That's just for kids though, and that was already announced. Like, what's their next like Rebels, Clone Wars, Bad
Batch?
Batch?
4 quadrant show.
What's their next 4 quadrant show for animation? And please don't set it in the Mando timeline. I would cry.
Skeleton Crew, baby.
Watch it be animated Mandalorian.
Oh, they turned the New Republic show into an animation format and set it in. Well, that actually doesn't sound too bad. But
Where's the Ben Solo training show? Animated.
I cringe at training sequence.
We got a comic. It's fine.
Yeah.
Got a comic. But we can get. I don't know. We can actually get Luke and Ben shit.
Yeah, I'd be very curious to see what when we're all set and done from those 4 days. Like, what's the actual news that we get?
You guys remember that day of like outcry where, not outcry, but like of like speculation when Daisy Ridley posted on her Instagram story. She was like,
yeah, she was
having lunch at Lucasfilm.
People lost their minds. I did. Too.
I was too. Yeah.
Yeah.
We're like, what's coming?
She's like, I was just hungry having lunch. I was like, fuck.
Don't do that. We miss you.
Yeah, I still don't think there's gonna be any sequel trilogy characters in this next movie. All original characters, I think.
Yeah, I think so too.
But yeah, who's gonna be the bad guys? Because again, I was just talking about like the unfortunate period of Star Wars where it's like it never ends. Which is why I didn't want them to do a further sequel. I'm just like, just go in the past because it feels so weird where Star Wars is supposed to be like this good, happy ever after ending.
I think they'll figure it out.
Happily ever.
Happily ever. And it's just never after. There's no after. There's no conclusion.
I would love it to be like villains with more personal stakes to the person rather than. I think they have to do that. Rather
we already
than,
have that with Moff Gideon. Just kidding.
He couldn't say it with a straight face. He
obviously like a Kylo Ren has personal stakes to the story.
Yes.
But what I'm saying is, it's not going to be like the First Order.
Yeah. I would love some enemies to lovers in the next movie, please.
You know,
Please.
I think we're going to get like, you know, like sort of the Spider-Man villains of the Star Wars universe of like, oh, like Doc Ock, like he's friends with Peter in the beginning and then da-da-da-da, like I would love more like personal developments like that where we like
every villain has a connection
watch a
to
villain
Obi-Wan.
become a villain, you know?
Well, I would love that.
Because, you know, obviously in all Star Wars movies, like when we're introduced to Darth Vader, you know, if we go in timeline order, it's like, oh, he's bad from the beginning because, you know, 1977 to 1999, like everyone just, that's what it was.
It's also fairly minimal.
Yeah.
But with these next movies only being like one-offs in various timelines, depending on what the directors want to do, I hope they just craft a good villain for one good movie.
Yeah.
Hopefully they accomplish that without having the need to be like, well, read a comic book and this is what the
I think it will be less like, again, I think it will be less mystery boxy, like, oh, like this happened before Exegol and da-da-da-da. It won't be like, I think it will be more specific to the characters,
which is good.
Whoever the new characters are.
I agree.
But I could be completely wrong.
There's another rumor to talk about. Not as good as the other one. Jon Favreau, heard of him before. and Dave Filoni, I've heard of him before, are not slowing down their Star Wars output. According to publication Production Weekly, the two are listed as executive producers on a new project that could go into production soon with a working title, Ghost Track 17. Little else is known about this for now, but there are a few remarks to be made. Number one, this could be the 4th season of Mandalorian, or this could be a secret show between the two.
I'm gonna guess Mando season 4.
I hope it's Mando season 4.
I would doubt
I
there's
mean,
anything else.
we just heard about Skeleton Crew, which came out of nowhere. I mean,
right. I think they're too busy right now for anything new. Because
possibly.
Dave's got to be imposed on Ahsoka / managing everything else.
What's Dave doing besides that?
John's probably writing and getting season 4 ready for Mando, and as well as producing everything else.
I mean, they're both doing.
They're
Mando
both
combined.
producing Skeleton Crew, so
True. Well, that's John Watts, right? Have John Watts do all that stuff.
Let him cook.
Let him cook.
Look how many volumes we got. Like
A lot now, actually. It's very expensive.
Yeah.
You know, the motion capture set for Avatar is also called the volume.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
Got them. Got their asses.
But yeah, that's about it for rumors. Hopefully I agree. Hopefully it's just Mando season 4.
When do we? Oh, Mando! The trailer drops on Monday.
Trailer drops on Monday. We'll talk about that our next episode. We'll do a trailer breakdown of Mando season 3.
I went to check the score of the Kansas game today, and there was a little 10-second teaser spot on ESPN for the trailer tomorrow or Monday.
Nice. I heard about this. So explain to the audience what happened in this little.
It was a shot of Din, Bo-Katan, and a bunch of other Mandalorians, and then there was like voiceover of like something about either we're coming for you or we're gonna help you, kid. Like, so it was a line of Din talking to Grogu, but Grogu wasn't in the shot. It's hard to explain.
So people theorized Grogu could have been taken again, or he's in danger or something like that.
Oh, or it literally could have just been a voiceover from.
Could have been anything.
Used from Din talking to Grogu when they're both inside the ship.
Exactly. Yeah.
Like, and just used out of context, which I'm pretty sure is what it was.
We'll see. Yeah, they're probably not going to be separated at all this season. Are we going to see Moff Gideon rise from the ashes in this next trailer, guys?
Where's my mythosaur, damn it?
That's season 5, I thought.
Oh,
yeah, you're right.
How many more seasons of Mando do we got?
Come on, we can have fun. We just
The fork in it.
We just dial it back the expectations, I guess. If we just let it be and just be like, hey, I like this aspect. Yeah.
Oh, I'll tell you how it is every week. Catch us on every.
We also need to hop back on T because tomorrow is. You don't know?
What is tomorrow?
Oh, The Last of Us. Last of Us.
It's The Last of Us.
I was like, I was instantly going into comic book news. I was like, is there anything?
Yeah, I'm back with my Spider-Verse bullshit.
Definitely. Yeah.
Live action.
I would love to do another T episode. It's been our first T episode of the year. We got to do one.
Oh my God. We haven't done one this year.
I mean, January. It's only January 14th or something, right?
We'll be okay.
We missed Friday the 13th.
Tragic.
We could have done Friday the 13th.
My students kept reminding me yesterday, Mr. Harris, you know it's Friday the 13th? Anyways.
Yeah, and what does that mean for you?
Nothing. Actually, I said the same thing. It means nothing to me.
Turn in your worksheet.
It means nothing to me.
Girl.
But yeah, so I want to do like reviews of Last of Us, whether it's an episode, 2 episodes, however many times.
They're like theatrically length.
They are long.
They're 80 minutes.
So yeah, I mean, we still have commentaries in the books, but we can save a commentary. We can do like Tuesday. We can do Last of Us or T, and then Thursday we can do Hyperspace Hype. We'll just move things around, make it work. How about that? Anything else, guys?
Trying to think if there's any Star Wars stuff.
I've been killing it on Crash Bandicoot tonight.
You guys catch up on any comic books or Star Wars books?
Midnight
Horizon, Carson?
No. Blame anime. It's taking up all my time.
You have a choice.
Good disappointed view. Didn't fit. I'm gonna watch Alabama Elementary. It's been great.
Nice. Oh, speaking of Hyperspace hype and Lucasfilm, watch Willow, everybody. Renew Willow season 2.
So it's
Hashtag
not
make
officially
Willow
renewed.
2 happen.
Make Willow season 2 happen.
But I'm like, if John Kasdan is working on it, like,
he's working on it.
is he just working on it willy nilly? Like,
he came out the article this morning and yesterday where he's like, it hasn't got renewed yet, but they keep telling me just keep writing. And I've been writing for season 2 and season 3. Like, he's been writing for a lot of potential future stuff for Willow. I'm pretty confident it will get renewed. It's just a waiting period. It has been doing. It's been in the top 10 every week ever since it got announced for Disney Plus. Yeah. I mean, sorry, it's not doing Wednesday numbers on Netflix, but come on, give us Willow season 2. Like, I just need a confirmation my life will be complete. If they cancel the show, they will never know happiness. Peace. Exactly. Peace is never an option.
We did it, gang! We brought it back around. Now let's blow this thing and go home.
Nice.
Well, it's a good one. Evan,
Oh, that's my name.
where can they find you?
Oh, find me on Twitter, HarrisEV9, tweeting anime reactions. I just watched My Hero and Blue Lock right before this podcast started. Those animes are great. Vinland Saga season 2 started on Monday. Phenomenal as always. I'm watching Nier. Reality TV, baby. I'm watching this show on Peacock called The Traitors. The Traitors was a show originating in the UK, I believe so. And it was kind of like 16 people go into a house. 3 people are designated as traitors.
Oh, I saw the trailer for this.
And they got to choose who to eliminate week after week. And the other remaining 13 players got to pick who can be the traitor. Of course, they're not going to be right every week or every day. They could eliminate one of their own. But it's a very intriguing social strategy game. You know, I love Survivor and Big Brother. So I saw the first 2 episodes. They are very fun. It's on Peacock. I really like it. I'm also started watching Under the Banner of Heaven on Hulu, Andrew Garfield's show. Really good as well. But yeah, anime, reading Star Wars all the time, reading manga, Chainsaw Man, it's really good. That's my life. This is the life. Bo.
Carson gets that now. Carson, where can they find you?
Yeah, you can find me understanding Tick Tick Boom jokes.
You gotta watch the last 20 minutes because you missed
listening to that soundtrack.
Oh yeah.
Calm down.
I forgot.
Anyways, yeah, just like Evan, I'm watching a bunch of anime. What am I watching right now? I'm watching Blue Lock, My Hero, Nier, Buddy Daddies, Revenger, and I feel like I'm missing. Oh, Trigun.
I gotta watch Trigun.
And also I'm binging Witch from Mercury right now. So I'm watching a lot, but it's so fun. And
welcome to the club.
Yeah, I'm addicted, and so I'm doing that. And then I've just been watching some movies on the weekends, and I still need to watch Fabelmans and Babylon. I really want to get to those in theaters. They're still
Babylon's
playing.
leaving. You gotta hurry up.
So yeah, I think Monday, since I'm off from work, I may go to the theater.
You should prioritize Babylon. If Fableman's still in theaters near you?
Yeah, it's at my indie theater.
Okay,
good. Got like an extended run of it.
Okay. Go see Fableman's.
Babylon's leaving, but I would recommend seeing Fableman's first, but Babylon's still very good. Babylon's just leaving theaters quickly. It has like 648 theaters left.
It's down to 1 show time a day already.
Yeah.
God damn, that's horrible.
Not good.
But somehow Fableman's still running. That's impressive.
Also, this weekend, Jared Butler Plane.
Did you see Plane?
See Plane. I'm seeing it Monday, baby.
Say Jared Butler?
Jared.
Gerald?
Jared.
Gerard.
Jared. I guess he was a gruff, like Jared Butler.
Plane.
Greenland.
Playing good.
I heard it's pretty decent.
according to Edgar.
True.
He said it was good.
And the faithful, the people that like watch every Gerard Butler movie like I do.
Somebody had a tweet. Be a fun thing close show. Unrelated to Star Wars, but somebody had a fun tweet of just like, all right, give a new title to Plane. Like just give it more than just the plane.
See, people make fun of Plane. Years from now, people are gonna remember Plane because it's called Plane.
Look, we can have ambulance, we can have plane. There'll be something else next year. Give me taxi, RV, freaking I don't know.
Isn't that a comedy called RV?
Yeah, Robin Williams. I actually love that movie.
Oh wow,
pretty good.
Yeah,
Will Poulter.
Yes.
No, that's where the Millers.
That's
Also, the Millers. Whoops.
Yeah.
They have an RV there too.
I went with the title "Cell 737," like a plane, because they're transporting a prisoner.
Isn't that a Joseph
That's
Gordon-Levitt
an
movie?
awful title.
Why? It's better than just plane.
That's an awful title.
Evan, I sat through that whole trailer. I was like, "What are they calling this? Plane?"
If I go to the movie theater and somebody says like,
"What is your beef with plane as a title?" It's dope.
It's Plane.
It's dope. It gets Snickers in the audience.
Cell 737. I have no idea what that means. Is that a robot? Is that a Terminator?
Yeah, what the hell?
What the hell is that?
Might as well call it Chappie at
Transporting a
that point.
prisoner. They're trapped. Fucking.
No.
No.
You do better than plane.
Plane's good. They're on the plane for a little bit of the movie.
A little
Yeah,
bit.
it is it. Look, they called this Joseph Gordon-Levitt movie 7500. Nobody saw this shit.
Awful. It went straight to Amazon Prime, but yeah, the movie sucks too. It was great. It wasn't great. Anyways,
we can't do a show without me getting roasted. All right.
bye guys.
If you enjoyed the show, episode number 82, make sure you hit the like button, subscribe not already. Ring that bell for Evan and Evan alone.
Do it or else.
Yeah. All right.
Bye.
Yeah, all right. Thank you. May the force be with you. Always.
Always.